let's go. So you want to hear another story, huh?
Handsomeness impending.
Joe Jack. I always forget every single time I play Borderlands.
And thank you for answering Hyperion summons. Unfortunately, the Helios space station is currently under attack by insane dome military forces. Please take this echo device. Now follow me. I can take you to your contractor liaison. Me, Rocket. Randy could have used some work, but that was my effort. Sorry about the mess. Things got really hairy once the Lost Legion attacked.
Sorry, I was just opening up my dashboard. Oh yeah, 60 FPS. Wow. What a world. It's almost like Monster Hunter should be able to be this fluent. It's almost like it can be, it's just in lack of development.
Just around the corner. Let's go.
Oh yeah, I forgot like how much they nerfed Hyperion guns in this game. I guess it's technically not nerfing. I guess the technology just got better over time. So that in 2 they were better than what they are in this game. Because in this game they have really, really bad fire rate. Just generally across the board. Compared to the same or equivalent SMG. Like this starter gearbox SMG. That's also Hyperion. But these ones have the caveat of being way more accurate. Like they reduce the accuracy much faster and more consistently. And 2, the gun will go like this all over the screen for the first couple bullets. What's weird is the cutscenes are in 60 FPS, but only the cutscenes that take place in engine or within the game, I guess you'd say. Because the ones that are done externally are still really low frame rate, and they look like dog shit because of it. It must be because the software that they used for making those cutscenes is different from the software used to make the cutscenes in game. That's the only way I could guess. I also understand it's a lot easier to make stuff like that at 24 frames a second. Way easier to splice and crop stuff into and out of frames. 60 frames just takes so much longer.
You want to wait? You're busy?
Again, I'm just guessing, because it's just so weird to me that they have, like, multiple types of cutscenes in the Borderlands games. Ones that are clearly done with some sort of animation software, and then ones that are actually done with the game engine itself.
Alright, looks like you got a shield. Pretty self-explanatory, really. It'll eat bullets until it depletes. When it does, you gotta hide and give it time to recharge.
And the thing that's always weirded me out is because Borderlands has, I wouldn't necessarily say the greatest lip sync, but
Critical failure. Helios defense systems are being jammed.
What? How?
Jamming signal originates from Elpis, Pandora's moon.
here,
Oh crap. Kill the turrets! Kill the turrets!
looks better than Mass Effect. And characters move their mouths regardless of if you're looking at them or even in the same zone as them. The only exception to this is Mordecai. When he's standing on top of the tower
Hey, other
in
Jack.
Tundra Express, he doesn't move his mouth when he talks, if I remember correctly.
I don't know, but the first person to shoot her in the head gets a high five in a turbo mansion.
I've never tried to zoom in on him with the Fremington's Edge to actually see, though, because that'd be the only way you could effectively see him.
Son of a day.
Hey, Jack Colonel! Execute plan to shoot that chick in the head!
See, and stuff like this done within the actual game engine. And that's how they can pan into those, like, comic book style overlays on the characters like that.
Okay, that's unnerving. Run!
And that's why you can interfere with the cutscenes as well. With Axton in Borderlands 2, you can use his turret or death trap if you're Gage, or the character I'm playing right now.
So, you know, keep running.
Jack, what the hell is going on?
Pretty much any character with a summonable object or a grenade mod that lasts a long time, like a bonus package.
One of the claptrap units tried to French kiss a light socket, sir.
I remind you that you are there to observe Pandora, nothing more. If you incur any damages to the Helios space station, I will personally...
Sorry, sir, we're losing connection. Asshole.
What?
I called you an asshole because I thought I'd hung up. My bad.
We will speak again, John.
It's always amazed me that they even put the effort in to do that. Considering that there's so little effort put in other areas, like running and walking animations for characters while they're shooting weapons and stuff like that.
Didn't expect you to hire vault hunters now, did ya? Son of a hate! And why the hell are you attacking?
Like that.
I want this station and
His arm isn't pointed where the thing is firing. But his mouth is definitely moving. How are you not taking damage from that? He's immune. He had like a shield that was making him immune to corrosion. Dang you, Hyperion fire rate.
My shield is gone! This is kind of fun! Oh, damn it! I see you, Hyperion Phil! Freaking lunatics! I don't get one more!
If only I could.
Everybody alright?
Aim where the bullet with weird accuracy could go.
workers and us if we don't move it.
Give me a Jacobs. There we go. That's more like it.
Okay, well, I've got a stupid idea. We're gonna head to that moonshot cannon. Follow me. What is this moonshot thing we're headed for again? Basically a huge gun that shoots supplies down to the moon's surface like about 1,000 miles an hour. We're gonna get in one of those containers and escape that way. And that's, survivable, is it? Good. Like this!
No, that's a cheater weapon. Oh. Got him. You just gived me my XP, Jack.
I had suspicions.
Other Jack.
Money, revenge. That said, whoever needed reason out here.
Yes. I have a skill and a button to use it. No. I want that mag size, dude. I want them bandit parts. I do have a nice Jacobs barrel and a Jacobs sight on my Jacobs pistol. Just has a bandit grip on it. Near perfect.
Be cleansed with heat! Kill that guy, I guess? Son of a tank! Burn! He's out of his power suit! Oh, my prettiness! In here!
Why are you crouching? So weird.
Don't do too well, you're making me look bad. Man, that guy really likes fire. Elevators over there. Let's go.
No nuke 'em?
This is kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Our story just began with us getting off a bus. This sounds all explosive and stuff.
Stop complimenting the prisoner.
Let's go. Elevator. We can get to the moonshot up there. Let me get the elevator. somebody's jamming the elevator up there.
That accuracy, though.
Watch your step. That'll be a hell of a fall. This might be a problem because I got a thing with heights and oh god.
All right, get into the moonshot cylinder and ride it up.
This is a pretty big bullet.
Thought it was already in the
Spin the
bullet.
cylinder. Make it up there. Free up the elevator so I can join you. Yeesh, you got wedged in tight. No big deal though, they can't feel pain. Just bash them out of there. Oh, these loaders bum me out. It's no wonder Dahl took us over so easily. We need more soldiers. Badasses. Like you.
We made it. Now we just gotta get into a moonshot container.
Freedom Hyperion shall not.
And kill this asshole.
No big surprise there.
Punch
Right,
crit.
that's twice you've saved my life. Now we just gotta. Oh, for what the
Critical
auto-shot
death.
Controls are damaged. Someone's gotta stay back and launch the pods manually. I'd suggest my body double, but he's way too hot tonight.
Getting uncomfortable.
All right, new plan. I'll stay behind. I need you down on the moon. You gotta find that jamming signal and shut it down. Otherwise, we'll never
The
get control
screen
of the moon
shake
base, and we can kiss that
might
phone
make me
goodbye.
vomit.
You're gonna stay and die? Shouldn't we switch places or something? Yeah, you saved my life.
A couple of times I'm repaying the favor. Besides, I'm a hero, baby. Self-sacrifice is part of the
Like
job.
I said,
Oh, good. A help
or I
machine.
said it
I won't
earlier,
put in here after
before
working
I
on
started
accident.
streaming Borderlands.
Lost his torso. Better heal up before your trip down to the moon. Might want to grab some ammo
playing
too. Supplies
Monster
over here.
Hunter gave me a massive headache.
We need to get a moonshot
of how
container up here. Normally we'd load some supplies,
aggravated
but this time you're the cargo.
Playing that game makes me.
Okay, this container ought to do the trick.
That'll kill you. So will that.
Container's already cool. Put it in the container. Watch your limbs.
I think the slide kills you anyways. I remember playing this with a friend and him dying in a really dumb way to this thing, and I can't remember what it was.
Like hell.
I know I've definitely seen someone die to the door opening.
No story is big handsome Jack kind of sympathetic. I hate it.
All right, we're ready to fire. Whenever
So
you're
far,
ready,
we're
I'll
one
shoot
life.
Concordia. It's the biggest
We'll see
town
how
on
long that
Elpis.
lasts.
I know someone there who can help you find
It's
that
by no
jamming
means a
signal.
one-life attempt, even though I should probably start doing that. See, this is the cutscene I was talking about. Ooh, that's a good frame rate right there. Zoop. Zow. Zip. Zoo. Zam. Zap. Z. Sorry. Good old very, very mute sound effects used for like high power lasers. I understand it's space, so you wouldn't hear anything, but you're viewing it from like a cinematic standpoint, so who the fuck cares? Do you want an entire section of a movie that's like a space fight to just be dead silence? Because that's what it would be.
Hello? 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 Thought you might
It'd
be
just be...
salvaged. You're about to die. You okay? Well, I can answer that. You're not okay.
That's a space fight right there.
This door, all the oxygen is
Absolutely nothing.
It'll hurt a lot and your eyes will pop like grapes when the pressure differential gets too harsh. So, here's my plan. When you're ready, open the door and follow me to my oxygen bubble. Sound good? Don't answer. Conserve your oxygen. Over here.
This way. Don't think about the race.
I wanted to do a 360 Janie jump. I have to wait for her to run all the way up there anyways.
Nearly there. It'd be embarrassing if you died now.
Problem?
Yeah, take your merry time.
Everybody good? Nice to meet ya. I'm Janie Springs, junk dealer. Who are you?
The name's Jack, babe.
Well, nice to meet you, Jack. So what are you doing here?
There's a jamming signal somewhere around here. Need to shut that down and head back to Helios Station.
A jamming signal? Haven't noticed anything like that. You might want to get to Concordia, a little city run by a fella called the Merriff. Got to be somebody there who can help you. You'll need an O2 kit, Oz kits we call them, to survive the journey though. I've got some broken ones stashed nearby, but I can repair them for you.
I'm holding the
Even
gun
if you
to
ain't
your
the
head.
breathing type, you'll be glad you've got an Oz kit. Head to these coordinates and clear the place out.
That building used to be in one piece and not lava adjacent. Till the crackening anyway. Oh,
Darn,
forgot I
darn,
locked it.
darn.
Oops. Just punch off the locks with your meat hooks. That's moon.
It
for
would be...
hands.
You need some amount of something in the air in order to hear.
Excited about being mauled again.
And not only that, but it also needs to be slightly pressurized. Like, if you had a bunch of sand particles in space, that's not going to make you hear anything.
Voila! One Oz kit. Great Great for breathing, double jumping, and
Slamming enemies. Now, to repeat, Deadlift leads a band of scavengers, scavs, who used to raid the old Dahl dig site. Colonel Zarpedon.
Sorry, that's my controller on my lap because I'm eating crackers.
I'm sorry, Zarpedon?
Anyway, he's got the Digistruct key for my Zoomy stations. Killing him will get you to
Zarp.
Concordia and make my week. Win-win.
I'm gonna rip a fat Zarp, dude. Sorry. I'm grabbing some food. Health here. I need more health. My health restoring items.
If you need to find me, I'll be back in my camp.
See ya. Lol. Oh, my accuracy is that of a fucking... I mean, I could have said something really lewd right there, but I didn't.
Needed a challenge? I mean, yeah, go me! Let's double it. Doing Jack Brown. Don't do too well, you're making me look bad.
Wait. I held square on that, why didn't it? Good old Jacobs action. Those are some good throws, dude.
I don't think you ever told me why you want Deadlift killed.
he's kind of a dick.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, wait, what?
Well, he also stole my Moonzoomy Digistruct key, stranded me out here, and got really rude when I told him I wasn't into guys. But mainly for being a dick to him.
This is Colonel Zarpedon.
Hee.
You must leave Elpis. Things are about to get much worse. I don't want to kill you if I don't have to.
Really? Because you've already, killed a whole bunch of people.
Fine. Do what you will. Deadlift, this is Colonel Zarpedon. I need you to kill the Vault Hunters headed for your ship. jump pads are stupid.
I will annihilate them.
I love doing that. Skateboarding on a Kragan. Some people hate the low gravity of this game. I like it. I hope they keep with the low gravity in future games. Not as a permanent thing, as just like some planets or things are low gravity. But still have like the bulk of the game being normal gravity. Just make it so that there are both relics and Oz kits, and that you'd only want to use one or the other in certain situations. Problem solvinoed. If you ever mapped my accuracy in a game like this, it would look like a nut job was controlling the game. But I'm also not playing it very seriously yet, mostly because I don't have to, and I'm tired. I actually wanted to just have fun playing the game for once and not have to try hard just to do the most basic thing. Oh yeah, okay. Oh wait, did they fix that? Or does it only work with the starting area? I think that's the case. I believe that glitch only works with the vendor in the little ship. You can sell it and buying it back costs no money. So you can just keep selling it over and over and over again to get infinite money. It just isn't a lot of money. And money isn't very valuable in this game early on. Besides to get the occasional legendary that shows up. But if you pick stuff up and sell it like a normal human being, and not the heathens who leave shit everywhere on the ground. At least if you have inventory space. Crammed slapper. I love that name. All these laser dicks. Not laser discs, laser dicks.
Uses that jump pad as his front door. He might want to do the same.
I want to see someone do a no fight for their life playthrough on Jack, or some like overpowered character that people always say is overpowered, like Salvador or something.
Jack here, the real one.
Then again, it would probably just be sniping the entire time. See you later. I always forget to use the jump pad. Fuck, I forget that that's not solid all the way.
I disabled the jump pad. Forgive me, jump pad. I didn't mean it.
Crap. Better head up to that geothermal substation, see what the damage is.
That was weak as fuck. I'm gonna say, I know it's possible to get up there because I've done it before. Like that. Such a waste of time though.
Why didn't that work? Oh, fuse is busted. Got an idea though? You could be the fuse.
What?
If you complete the circuit between those two line wires, it should reactivate the jump pad. Just stand between the two sparky bits.
Is that gonna burn me or anything?
Yep, gonna hurt lots. Now just go kill the guy so you can get to Concordia.
Why are those Hyperion screwbags still alive?
nerd.
Grenade out!
Falcon. Pooch.
I never got to ride a jump pad,
I also witnessed the deaths of many innocent people.
but jump pads though.
Jump pads. Jump pads.
There he is. Just kill his dumb ass and I can get you closer to Concordia and finding that jamming signal.
Those Vault Hunters died today. Well, my name isn't Syphilis, Jet. What are you even doing?
I just realized his name is fucking Syphilis. Oh my god. I'm sorry, my dude. Poor Syphilis over here, dude. What are we doing, dude? Can you make up your mind? Alright, this is getting a little ridiculous. Are you done? Thanks, bud.
Must be somewhere around here.
Oh, that's it.
Where?
Too early for bed.
Monza, am I glad to see that? Pick it up. Now you've got the Digistruct key, you can turn on one of my moon zoomies at the Dara way station. Get yourself there, but be careful. Scavs have taken over that place after
This is where I'm gonna have to start throwing stuff out for money. Ooh, something different. Overdrive rockets. Overdrive crap load. Because it's dog shit.
These oxygen geysers will refill your Oz kit. Just step into one and take a deep whiff.
I need some heroes.
This is the last will and testament of Tom Thorson, Dahl Captain. Deadlift scabs are boarding my ship as I speak. Whoever finds this echo, please, find it in your heart to honor a doomed man's last wishes. Just press the next message button when you're ready.
Yeah, sure. What's the worst that could happen?
Thanks. First off, I need you to inform Colonel Zarpadon of my death. Plug this echo recorder into a transmitter and convey the message.
Well, this was an old Dahl colony way back. But then the Krakening happened. Lava erupting everywhere had them buggering off pretty quick. They left whole factories here to rot. Equipment just lying around. After a few years, the first fleet arrived. It wasn't the first one here, but that's what they called it. People started living here again. Maybe living's an overstatement, but people are here, amongst everything else. No one really knows why the Krakening happened, but most people you run into will say Dahl caused it. Extracted minerals or something. I don't know. I guess stories don't have to be true to be believed. They just have to be told. And I tell that one a lot.
So you survived Craig and Pass, big deal. I dare you to come over here and try out Craig. Get over here so we can avenge Deadlift in a sick-ass spacesuit.
Early moonstone. Ooh. God damn it, that's the second time I forgot to grab a drink. Sorry, I'm stretching. I'm also spacing out at all this. Stars, dude. Is there an oxygen geyser around here? Guys me up. I've got balls of steel. Balls, balls, balls of steel. Good job. You did it, dude. You got me. Sorry if I quiet down a bit. Quiet down. I don't. Angus. What is Angus and how does it do? If I would know, I would tell you. That's some good doll hairs right there.
Informing me of Captain Thorson's fate, Vault Hunter. Though you will not have my mercy, you do have my respect.
Once you've told the Colonel of my death, I'd like you to avenge me. It looks like Squat, Deadlift's lieutenant, is boarding my ship right now. If you could track him down and kill him, I'd appreciate it. I need you to find a guy named Nell. Now, tell him he's a dick.
You're a dick. Sorry.
No! That's that. Sorry I can't give you a reward, but, you know, I'm dead. Still, thanks.
Vault Hunter, I want to thank you for fulfilling Captain Thorson's last wishes. Head to the following coordinates.
Ignore that. Just smack it. Good on ya. Now just get a vehicle and come on back. If you want to kill some Kragans while you're out there, I'm looking to make some corpse jewelry out of them. Make sure to stop by.
I don't know why my eyes are so heavy all of a sudden.
Maybe you can find your signal there and get back to your ruddy huge space station.
My men hid this weapon stash months ago. You can have them until I take them back.
Car. Into car. Sorry. Wrong button. I forgot what I had my controls set to in this. Because I have a completely, like, weird thing for most of the other buttons that aren't shoot and aim.
Hey, you survived! That was me high-fiving myself. They're looking for me, so I gotta go radio silent. Find the jamming signal, shut it down, and return to Helios.
What's a low-level Hyperion employee doing making body doubles of himself?
He's got big...
Damn it. What button is my slide button? Oh, there we go.
Good to see ya. Here, take this. It's an Orbitron. It'll get you into Concordia. Just jump that trap with your vehicle and you'll be well on your way to Concordia. Once you get there, you should be able to find your
Jamming signal, or whatever you said. I'll meet you there later. Oh, and Jack Double Guy, if you ever need to get that plastic surgery reversed, I know a guy.
Yeah, that's thanks. I'm pretty sure there's a bomb in this face that'll detonate if you try to take it off, but thank you.
Lazy.
Alright, welcome to Concordia, a crap hole if I ever saw one. Find a guy named Huckster. He's ex-Hyperion, runs the town.
Huckster. More like fuckster. So funny. Got that claptrap humor.
Okay, that's far enough, Buster.
Just give him the...
Entry papers, and make it snappy. Chop chop.
Oh, go yourself.
You are in violation of the verbal space morality statute. You just got a ticket.
You in the...
Oh, you just got another. I love rules. They make me follow me, or you'll get a third ticket.
Or how about I just like take my boot or like pick you up and just throw you over the ledge here.
Yes, this is Concordia. Minus the spaceport's on Opus. Too bad you'll be seeing it only from a cell for all those tickets you've accrued.
Give him the Orbitron. Things will get weird, just so you know.
Oh, great. Yeah, consider yourself totally cleared for decontamination.
Totally.
Told you I'd get you in. You're on your own now.
Yay.
Welcome, new citizen. Obey my commands. Go stand on decontamination pad. Do not move when beam comes.
Oh my god. I've never actually sat through that entire thing before. That's ridiculous, dude. That's like the Miss Torg grandma. I sound like a drunk person just spouting off random things from my brain. Because I can't even verbalize them right now. That's how cooked my brain is. on a level of 1 to fucking burnt zucchini, I'm a fucking fried potato. So just a French fry. Yeah, but never mind. I don't know what I am, but I can't commit to it. I feel like a dog shit.
So, Huckster, the guy you need to find, calls himself Marif. Like, mayor mixed with Shara is stupid, whatever. But he might know how to track down the signal. This guy's still pulling down a fat retirement plan from Hyperion, from my division.
The
I'm
gauge
basically his
crate.
boss. He's pretty much on the team already.
Visitors from Helios. So, here's the thing. No visitors today.
Whoa! You were one of us, you stupid named son of a bastard!
Thank you for visiting the offices of the Marif. We hope you enjoyed your bureaucratic interactions.
Yes. There is one other person who can help us, unfortunately. Head to the up-over bar. Monks. Oh, wait. Hey, you see those two on the dance floor? The tattooed chick and the guy allergic to smiling? Oh, they're ex-Vault Hunters. Go see if they'll help. Oh, finally. Lady Luck flips a freaking face card.
Hey there, kiddos. Hyperion are losing Helios to Dahl. We need to stop the signal that's jamming its system. Bitches.
Hyperion, Dahl. Is there a difference?
Vacation. Together.
Yeah, sorry. We're out of the ball game.
Too many tentacles.
Tentacles?
Go talk to Moxie. Damn it!
Looking for me, sugar?
Sorry, I keep pausing for a second.
Holy Hi, I'm Jack, obviously, and I need
I've been
your
up
help.
for such a long
Are
time,
you
I keep like micro sleeping.
We're not still dating?
Not even kidding. Just like doze off for half a second and then wake up like, oh.
So, Jackson.
Remember what you're doing, retard.
Something awful. No worries though. It's all in the past. What does he need?
Helios doll attacked, jamming signal. Jeez, you're really pretty.
You want to find a signal? Then you gotta put transmitters on the echo towers around town. Get up high. Simple triangulation. They'll find the source, then you can shut it down. Thing is, I don't have any transmitters here. But that's fixable. First, I need you to pick up some moonstones mistakenly confiscated by the customs claptrap. Head over there and I'll update your echo. Trust me, it'll make sense.
That's all my money, dude. What?
I completed a challenge? I mean, yeah, go me! Woo!
I'm not gonna spend any more of my money. I just wanted to try and get something decent.
Tells me you're here for her moonstone. I'm pretty sure I stored them at the bank. You can pick them up from there.
I'm not a big fan of the bank. Still, it serves its purpose. You can use it to stash things you don't feel like carrying around.
Oh, that's right. I actually put the moonstones in the stash, not the bank. You can have the gun. The owner doesn't need it.
The stash, huh? That's where you can store items you want to swap between other characters. Not sure why you put the moonstones there.
Hey, get off me, bud.
Shame he doesn't
Dang,
ticket himself for stupidity. Pick up the moonstones and take them to the black market. Check your
I just thought the view counter thing was glitched. I didn't think people actually stayed to watch it. It always amazes me how much more people like watching Borderlands. Either that or they like watching someone on the point of like passing out on their live stream. Either or.
moonstones to the guy there and you'll get what you need. I ordered a bunch of transmitters a while back, but I've been kind of avoiding this place. That Janie Springs keeps trying to use it as a place to accidentally run into me.
Poke, 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 poke. Give me a C, L, A, P, T, R, A, P. What's that spell? I fucking don't give a shit. There you go. Getting destroyed.
What you want?
Can I spend these moonstones on some transmitters? I'm Jack.
I'll throw them in if you take some of this other trash off my hands. How'd you know about me?
If the trash isn't me, I don't care.
And he's a useful guy to know. Bring him moonstones and he'll get what you need. What you want? Love that guy.
I'm like
I'll hit
dog
Echo with the
trash.
forwards for the towers
Everything
and
is
things
dog
together.
with me.
When you get the first transmitter in place, I'll make contact.
What about
You
like
need to get above
Weasel?
Springs Emporium O stuff.
Everything's
She's out
like
of town,
Weasel
so she won't
Chiff.
be around to help.
Whatever the
And
fuck
so
that
we're
is.
clear, tell Jack once this is done, we're all square.
Woo! I'm glad I didn't buy that. Oh yeah, that's right. In this game, it only takes one button.
I'll send you a waypoint showing how I try that climb. You know, 'cause I'm nice like that. I've got a connection, but it's not very stable. You mind giving it a whack for me?
Dang it, if I hit that, I would have been godlike. Monster kill.
You said to if anybody ever swung by for him.
And she didn't mention me at all? Yeah, so, see what I mean about that girl? The signal. It's not coming from Concordia. Coords for the next tower on your Echo. She's working now. Let's get her calibrated. I just gotta mess with some dials back here.
You know why I don't come back? I'm safe here. Company no know I'm here. Game is safe because they expect me change it. Anyway, Mama, no cry. Nito must go.
This transmitter, something's not working. Let's try rebooting it. There we go. There's a tower above the Mayor's office. Try getting up there.
Warning. Trespassing on government property will result in your immediate death. Thank you.
Oh yeah, should have mentioned the turrets. You'll need to destroy them. So, look
Looks like a bullet or two damaged the relay drive gearbox. Sift through those turrets, see if you can find a replacement.
Yeah. What was that again?
That's it. Score! Give me time
It's a thingy that does a thingy for the other thingy when you attach it to that thingy. I wish I wasn't so tired. I keep doing like super stretches. I need to like stretch my back over the side of my couch. Hold on. Gotta do the good old fashioned crackling. All the way up the back, the entire vertebrae. Gotta not hurt myself though. Gotta do it slowly. Person saw me doing that, they'd probably think I was fucked in the head. I'm sure people already think that.
Signals coming from a place called Crisis Scar?
That's an old doll comms facility. Been nothing but scavs there for years.
Well, looks like it's working again. Go shut it down. Also, status updates. Still getting shot at. So if you wanted to
What the hell?
that'd be cool. Guy, this is so frustrating. Get back to Moxie. She's got secret exits everywhere. Classic.
If you're looking for Moxie cover, she's not here. Really hard getting sunk while she's off in a secret workshop, tinkering with advanced tech and all. If I was any more annoyed, I'd probably let it slip that it's accessible by pushing the arm up on the one-arm banded machine over there. Then pressing the access button that pops out.
Wow, dude. Why do I always gotta get fisted by RNG? Like, just fucking bend me over and just do it raw. Oh, what's that? You got two fists in there? It's supposed to be a one-armed bandit, but it's still fisting me right in the fucking...
Moxie?
I'm sorry.
Ma'am? Hello?
Hey, whoa, what are you doing?
Oh, jeez. Even cuter without makeup. That's just, it's the worst.
Damn it, I really don't like people seeing me out of character. The hell do you want?
The Mara locked up in city. Could she help me get out, please?
I know a way out, but I won't show it to you unless you promise not to tell anyone what you saw.
Yeah, no, totally, of course, I promise. Anything, absolutely anything for you. Please, just, God, marry me. I mean, I didn't say that. What's up with you? How are you?
What's up with you? How are you?
That's the way out of here. Hope you find that signal, and remember, shallow grave.
I mean, I don't know if this is too soon or not, Moxie, but I'll tell you right now, your son ends up in a very shallow grave. In fact, his grave doesn't even exist. So, get double-fisted. Rip, Scooter. You will be missed. You were good. Real good. Maybe even the best. Gutter Snipe's pass. Where is Gutter Snipe then? Is he up there?
Oh, jeez.
Is that a Gutter Snipe?
Yeah, I'll get back to you.
What just happened? The whole bloody moon shook.
Good old texture.
So, not good.
Being a good texture.
Control of the Eye of Helios. It's a big freaking laser in the heart of the space station. She's targeting the moon's core. Try not to panic, but she's trying to blow up Alpus.
I'm Sybil, leader of the Liberation Front of Concordia. We're Mother Nature's little helpers, and there's a species on the brink of extinction in desperate need of rescue. I'm sending a set of coordinates to your Echo. I'll lay things out properly when you get there.
Good shot there, lad. Good shot. Also, my fucking S on that was so loud, I scared myself with how loud it was. I was like a dog that farts themselves awake. I wish I could say I was joking, but again, I can't because I've been up for such a long period of time that that's happening. I make a overly loud whistle with an S, and it just scares me. I'm gonna go out for a smoke real quick. Hopefully that'll stimulate me and make me stay awake. Oh, controller needs to not be sticking forward though. And slowly walk me into a grave. Have I died yet? I can't even remember. I don't think I've died. I know I went down and fight for my life a couple times.
Show them no mercy.
rope up my tomato plant somewhere.
Poor mom. I mean, when I took the potty double cake, they had to fake my death. I mean, she was laughing when they told her, but I'm sure she was crying, you know, on the inside,
Grasshopper
sobbing.
guts.
Well, fairly sure.
Opening up a grasshopper. Because our grasshoppers around here are infected with nematode things. They're technically not nematodes. It's just in their name, scientifically. You look up Gordian worms or horsehair worms. They infect the grasshoppers and then crawl out of them. Once they reach water, they take control of the brain of the thing and give it like a hormone that makes it go near water and drown itself, and then they leave the body. You can tell when a bug has been infected by it because they don't use their eyesight to move around. They only move if something touches them. It's a very weird thing because it turns the bug into a zombie, basically. It's not doing its own actions, it's just doing actions as like a puppet for all the fucking worms in it. Because around here it's not just like one big worm inside, it's like fucking 60 that are all balled up inside. And if you put like something warm next to it, like a lighter for a second, the entire body will like undulate up and down because they'll try to escape. It's really fucked up. People walking around at night. I wonder what the fuck they were doing. Unless those were night watch. I don't think I cut this piece of string even close to being long enough for this. No. I'll have to use that for something else. Sorry, I'm just trying to do this while I'm out here, so. It's gonna grow up the side of the porch. It'll probably be about 10 feet plus tall by the time it's done growing. And I only put it in June.
How egocentric does this guy have to be to hire body doubles?
It's so
Dude's just a
vigorous
That's like a
that the clones that I take off of it are
You're not important
even
enough to kill,
more
man.
vigorous than the
Hello.
plant itself. I took a clone off of it and put it in a container with a bunch of beans, and that plant has a thicker stalk than half of the other plant, like that one that's in that container. Accidentally got a knot tied in this thing because I'm a pleb. Smell like tomatoes though. Smell like tomato plant. Good smell.
My old face. I miss my freckles.
And I'll have to take that other one off that I put on the other day and retie that so that it's tighter. Actually, no. Just tighten it right now. Alright, there we go. It's about 6 feet tall, currently. It's actually probably way taller than that. I'm just guessing. I'm short, so anything that's taller than me always seems gargantuan once it gets to a certain size. And I only tie it up because I want it to grow in a specific place. The thing grows in so thick and so healthy that it doesn't even need it. Most tomato plants would need support. That plant, even if I hadn't have put the support there, I think it would have been fine. It's got tree-like stalks on it, and they don't bend at all. Like I said, I'd never seen a tomato plant that did that so well. I'm just packing a toke real quick. I've grown a lot of plants, a lot of different tomatoes and stuff like that. But the one I've grown this year, I've never seen do so well with so little disease on it. It still has full, like, deep green leaves, top to bottom. Even the ones that are shaded are staying nicely green. It's got such excess amount of nutrients in the soil that it's uptaking, that it's causing the flower clusters to go into these weird mutative states where normally when you grow a husky red cherry tomato, if you look up pictures of it online, what that type of cherry tomato grows like, it grows these little clusters which are like almost perfect every single time, with like a stem, and it has flowers on either side of the stem, and then it just grows these perfect cherry tomato clusters which look like they're perfectly aligned on either side. The ones I have, they'll start to grow like that. They'll get about 4 or 5 flower clusters in, and then it branches, and it does this weird like thing where it almost looks like a hand of cherry tomatoes, and it's like 20 to 25 in one little flower cluster. And again, you look up pictures of that tomato, and you don't see anything for that, but that's what the tag was, because I just bought it because I was just like, screw it. I saw the plant there at Lowe's, and I had an empty space in the little garden area in front of the place where I live. You only need one healthy indeterminate tomato plant to make a bunch of tomato plants.
Stupid ass professors telling me to join one of these stupid ass corporations, ruining my stupid ass life.
So I started out with one plant from this thing that I bought at the Lowe's. In the little flower bed, I have a gap in between these irises that grow there and the wild roses that also grow there. And yeah, even though they're in a domesticated area, they are just wild roses that grew in, and like someone just left them there because they grow all over the place around here. You drive down a lot of the streets early summer, and all you see are roses along the sides of the road. And then you'll see hybrids, because people have brought in ornamental roses, and they'll crossbreed with the wild roses because of all the honeybees that go crazy for them. So you get, like I was saying before, roses of all colors. You get white ones, light pink ones, dark purple ones, red. Looks really good when you mix it in with all the other types of invasive flowers that have also grown here. So we also have musk mallows that have naturalized everywhere, and they look really, really cool when they're blooming as well. They have really cool leaf structure, and they grow tiny little shrubland plants, and they're not like massive, so they don't overshroud everything else. They grow in the same area where all this Queen Anne's lace grows, and it's sort of like mixed in with them. Then we have the bleeding heart flowers. Those grow all over the place here as well. It just basically became a weed because people wouldn't properly take care of them in their yard, and then they'd mow their lawn and blow the little like tiny bean pod type seeds everywhere, and the shit just spreads. So around here you have so many things that people like who raise kids around here don't really teach them, that a lot of the stuff that they're looking at isn't even native to here. Like they've changed where I live currently is so different than what it would be naturally. It's not even funny. The amount of things that grow wild here that are technically garden or ornamental plants that people try to grow in their gardens and have a hard time growing, but they just grow like weeds around here because the soil is really good. You're next to you're within radius of a river that runs from springs on mountains that's nice and mineral rich, so plants don't ever run into the situation of having hard to reach water and minerals. Not directly on the river, but you don't need to be directly on the river to gain benefit of a watershed. In the same limelight of, you don't need to be directly next to a river to spill something into the soil and have it leach into a river. You can be like over a half mile away from a river, spill something, and with time and enough rain, severe storms and stuff like that, that shit will wash all the way down into the nearest watershed. Same thing happens with things in people's gardens, like I said. People have ornamental plants or trim stuff in their yard and they throw it, or it gets blown into a river, a bird eats it and brings it somewhere else, and all of a sudden something that was just a plant that a guy had in their yard is growing in some dude's yard fucking an entire city over, because the bird went from city to city in between eating the thing and then shitting it out somewhere else. That's why you can't ever really stop invasive things. Like, if you bring something from another country, unless that thing is like infertile or unable to breed because you brought like only a female plant and it needs a male plant or something to be able to successfully propagate. But even then, a lot of plants can propagate via roots or cuttings and stuff like that that hits the ground in other manners and allows the plant to root and create other plants, like aspen trees. A lot of trees do that. It's how they form such dense canopies. It's why normally when one starts dying of a significant problem, they all start dying of a significant problem. Because most trees in an area that do grow by advantageous roots end up being non-disease resistant, and the second there's a disease that evolves to attack the plant, it's fucked and the entire plant structure dies and something else takes over. That's what's going to happen with Cavendish bananas and navel oranges. Eventually those won't exist and we'll have to find new ones from new disease-resistant versions, because those plants are just mutative versions of already existing bananas or oranges. It was a mutation on a plant where the fruit on the plant didn't grow seeds in it like it normally should, and so what they did is they took a cutting off the plant, made a clone of that plant, and 100 years or so later, you have entire orchards of that plant spread around the world in many different zones. I can't remember the solution to this puzzle. It's literally 2. All you need to do is move 2 of these things, but I can't remember which 2 it is. I think it's this one and this one. Yeah. GG.
Good work. Now the slime is gone, cuties are free to emerge and frolic with abandon. Navigate that disgusting waste and go save the cuties. Goodness, what on earth are those? I don't like them. Ugh, they're not cute at all. Kill them, will you? Kill them all!
It amazes me the amount of people who don't know about things like sweat bees. That's another thing. It's something I always bring up to people when I talk about my flowers and stuff like that getting pollinated on my tomatoes. Because if you didn't know, bumblebees and stuff like that have a very hard time pollinating cherry tomato and small little tomato flowers. On bigger tomatoes like beefsteaks and stuff like that, they can actually land on it and grab it. But they don't gain much out of the pollen because the pollen is so fine, grainy, and dusty. It's not like the pollen of a rose plant, like I said, that they go crazy for, which has big flakes of pollen that they can stick into their little pollen sacs on their legs very easily, and they don't have to worry about the pollen falling out as they're flying due to the vibration, which happens with the more sandy, dusty pollens. And if they have the option, they'll actually collect thicker pollen over thinner pollen just for that reason. Because if you didn't know, bumblebees and honeybees have little tiny sacs on their legs that are made for storing pollen in flight. Most people think that they use their body for pollinating, and they do, but that's more of an accidental thing. And a lot of the time what the bee will do, if it is trying to pollinate a flower specifically, is you'll see it use its legs to wipe pollen off of itself. It doesn't just like fly into the flower and then it falls off of its body, because if it's stuck to its body, then it's probably stuck to its body really good if it's not falling off of it mid-flight, because they're really buzzy. If you've never been able to hold a bumblebee or been around a bumblebee to hear or feel what they actually feel like when they're flapping their wings or buzzing, because they can buzz and like vibrate their body without actually flying. And they do that, bumblebees specifically do something called buzz pollinating, which is they'll land on a flower and they'll purposely go bzz, 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 and like vibrate the shit out of it to make the actual pollen seep into the make the male pollen seep into the female parts of the flower to actually get the flower to be pollinated properly. Because some flowers cannot be pollinated without the help of a bumblebee doing buzz pollination. And that's why some people say that losing bumblebees will mean certain flowers and a lot of plants will die off. But what they don't mention is that there's like over 2,000 species of sweat bees as well. And sweat bees are also secondary pollinators to a lot of things. These are much tinier little bees that are very insignificant in size, and really the only ones that you'll ever get a good look at are the metallic green sweat bees and a couple of others that are related to that one, because they're very bright in color. They look like the metallic green flies that you see, except for they have the shape of a bee and they have like a black and white tail, sort of like a yellow jacket. But they have a very obvious facial structure of a bee, and they have like hairs on their back legs instead of sacs for collecting pollen. And the hairs allow them to collect much more finer pollen, like those from a tomato plant and stuff like that. And then you have very specific types of bees, like squash bees. Squash bees are very smart, specific types of bees that literally only go for plants in that family. And they will fly and find them over long distances just to set up like shop near these plants and farm them for pollen as they put out excessive amounts of male flowers. Because if you didn't know, most squash and cucumber varieties have a specific name for what they are, and I can't quite remember it right now, but there's two types of things. And one will have the plant put out more female flowers than male flowers. The other type has them putting out more male flowers to female flowers. And most varieties of squashes, cucumbers, and anything in that family have that quality to them. And what the squash bees will do is, while the excessive amounts of male flowers are growing, because they have flowers of separate, like, gender, I guess you would say. A squash has a male flower which grows on a long stem and sticks up from the plant. And then you have a female flower which will be on the stem of the plant, and you'll be able to see the actual tiny little fruit, or the start of what will be the fruit for that plant. So if you're growing like a pumpkin or a melon, it'll be a little tiny melon with a blossom on the top of it. And you need to have squash bees around your area in order for them to even remotely get pollinated, or you have to do it by hand, pretty much. Because squash bees are one of the only types of bees intelligent enough to actually move the pollen from the male flower to the female flower and work it into the plant, which is what you'd have to do by hand to do it. The fact that squashes and gourds even grow regularly still to this day is pretty much only because of those things. Because squashes and gourds really can't be pollinated via the wind, because of the way that their flower is shaped, and the fact that the flowers are only open in the morning for a very select period of time, and then the flower closes up. And the squash bees actually use that to their advantage and will hide inside the flower during the hot temperature of the day, underneath the shade of the plant, and then they'll just pry their way out of the flower the next day to go into the next ones. And they'll put off signals while they're inside of the plant, which lets other squash bees in the area know that the plant is flowering, or that that flower is already taken. And you'll see them like working very independently of one another as well. If one flies into a flower with another one, the other one will almost immediately leave upon the other one arriving, and stuff like that. And they'll work the pollen grains off of the stem of the stamen, which is the male part of the flower, and the whole bottom of the flower will just be filled with this dusty pollen, and they'll use it as food, but like I also said, they'll use it to pollinate a female flower once a female flower opens up. But if a female flower never opens up, then they just sit in there basically waiting for nothing. So it sort of sucks when that doesn't happen for them, but they don't necessarily die either, because they don't really make honey. Not like honeybees. They only make enough honey and drink enough nectar to survive. They don't use it as a storage mechanism. Squash bees don't. You can look this up, because, like, again, people think bee. They think thing that makes honey and makes giant comb. Some honeybees literally just live in a hole in the ground. Or not honeybees, but you know what I mean. Some types of bees live just in a hole in the ground, and that's it. There isn't anything else to them. Some bees don't even live in a place. They just will take up they'll live on a plant at night and just rest, and then during the day they'll just be solitary. They'll have areas that they stay in, but they won't necessarily have a specific, like, they won't have a hive per se. There's a lot of variants. People don't look stuff up. People just see what everyone talks about in the headlines and doesn't understand shit. And everyone's always like, if this type of bee dies, then everything dies. And it's like, no, you don't even fucking understand. There's like fucking so many of them that all live off of different kinds of things. Like, you can't even quantify it by a specific type of... Yes, normal bumblebees are declining, which means that certain types of flowers will decline in areas where the bumblebees are declining. But other types of flowers will thrive because there won't be competition from bumblebees on flowers that other bees like to go on to. it goes both ways for different types of things. When one thing starts to fade out in an area, you normally find that something else takes up that spot and does it even more. Because there's a lack of it. Nature fills a role really fast. And yes, I realize I'm not doing the mission, but that's because I just wanted to get inside of the building for the chest. And just drive around for a bit. While I drink some sody pap to wake up. And talk about bees. I need to go back to that other area though. Now that I turned that other quest in. And now that that thing is open for the chest. Because you can't access the chest inside that room that I was just in earlier for the quest. Unless you have the quest. Or have activated it before. I also need to run over all these money nuggets. Sick! I have to pick up that moonstone. Good shot, lad.
Chunks. Dirt chunks.
Dirt chunks. What? Where? Oh. Hold on, I want to get the chest up here too. Well, if I can... Come on, man. Just let me do what I want to do. Dread. Regret. Good drive. People always think it's weird to look at bugs and insects unless you're a guy who has a title that says, I'm a guy who looks at bugs and insects. And that, to me, is always so fucking annoying. The amount of people who are so poorly educated on the most basic of, like, thing that lives all over the fucking place. Like a sweat bee. The amount of people who, like, hear that name and they're like, what? What's that? It's like, that's a thing that literally exists everywhere, and like, you've probably seen them before and thought they were a fly. It's like the difference between tiger moths, snout moths, and like other varieties of those things. Some moths don't have mouths, for example. Some moths just have a proboscis. Some moths have very, very long mouths with the end forming the snout where the mouth is like held in place, which is why they call them snout moths. Again, that's shit you see everywhere because there's so many, there's like thousands of versions of those things with so many different color variants, and impossible to actually tell unless you have a professional nearby. But that doesn't mean that you can't look at it and at least go, it's in that family or whatever, like a tiger moth. They're very distinct, and once you know what one looks like, you can pretty much tell one immediately because they have a unique color pattern. There's a specific family of moths, like I was saying though, that are giant moths and they don't have mouths. So things like Luna moths, they don't have mouths and they only live for a set period of time. On a side tangent about insects, we had off-season cicadas hatch around here. At least I think they were off-season. I still need to look up when the actual season is supposed to be for them around here. Because I'm pretty sure this wasn't the year that they were supposed to come out of the ground, but 3 cicadas came up around the maple tree in my yard. And I had one in my hand. They're very, very strong. Strong, but bad at everything they do. They're terrible flyers. Even though they're very strong with their little grippers, they're terrible at climbing and shit. They're so slow. But they're so harmless too at the same time. I love those things. Whenever I see them like on the ground, I always pick them up and stick them on a tree, because birds will get them in a heartbeat. Wait, I didn't even check to see if the placard dropped, because I'm fucking an idiot. That grenade actually has over 3-second fuse. That's disgusting. I know I'll bore people to death with nature talk, because some people hate that shit. I always like to expand people's horizons. There's a lot of incorrect bullshit that gets thrown around on social media, because so many people live in the city and not enough people who live in areas where I live give a fuck enough to actually correct the dumbass people from the city. Because we just, I mean, not to put it in like words that may offend someone, but we ain't got time for that. Because everything offends everyone in some way or shape or form today. And I don't like to generalize people from the city, but they are generally the ones who are the most clueless when it comes to nature bullshit, and are like the most easily lured into like the normal pitfall trap of how things work. Again, they watch a nature documentary about stuff that they could literally just go outside and see if they just like traveled a little bit. And it's like, no, you're not going to get up close to a beaver, but when people watch stuff, like I said, about bugs or spiders, like, you can find those all over the place. I love all the different versions of the garden spiders that we get around here. I'll even get them in containers and then put them in my own garden containers. I'll catch them in like a little plastic tub, and then I'll go over to where I have my containers with plants in them, and I'll put it in the center to try to get it to stay there and set up a web to protect it from insects partially. It's a natural insecticide when they see that giant black and yellow spider on it. It's why those things stay on their web versus a lot of other orb weavers which hide under structures and then attach a string to their web to feel the vibration, and then they run out onto their web when they feel something on it. Normal garden spiders, they just sit at the center of it with all of their legs stretched out to make it look like there's something big in the way, or something intimidating for something that actually has good vision. There's a word for spiders that are intimidating just based on look and color, and that's aposematic coloring. It's just a type of coloring that is naturally scary or intimidating to things that would normally eat spiders. And that's why spiders that have aposematic coloring are black and yellow and don't have a lot of red on them. Red is only visible by like a lot of small things with more complex eyes. Birds can see red, but a lot of the time that's not what would prey on spiders and stuff like that. You'd find that snakes, and if you live, the further down south you live, more reptiles, birds, and other things will like run through the brush and knock the spider out of its web or crush it or other things like that. So there's so many different things that can happen to a spider depending on where it lives. You can have areas that a spider could live all year long. You don't have that around here. Spiders get winterized, and then they just appear out of fucking nowhere in the spring, and all of a sudden you just have spiders again. It always amazes me how stuff like that just appears. I wouldn't say it just appears. Obviously, they go and they hide under leaf litter and stuff in the ground, and they literally just freeze. And then when they slowly unthaw in the spring, they come back out and are able to do shit again.
That's right. The good guys are here.
That's what bumblebees do that live in the north. They don't migrate all the way down south because a bee has to drink nectar like every 30 to 45 minutes to stay hydrated during the day when it's hot out. That's why bees tend to get the pollen and nectar from plants in like the first hour of the day the most. The second hour, that reduces by about like 50%, and then by the third hour, there's almost no bees. And if you do see a bee, it is probably like one that is a little bit on the unhealthy side, to say the least. Either that or it got kicked out of the colony, or it's dehydrated. I've helped rescue bees that were dehydrated before. That's a very common thing that happens in urban areas when you have a lack of flowers that they can specifically get nectar from, because they can't get nectar from just any flower. A dandelion does not have the proper plant structure for them to get nectar out of it with the way that their mouth is shaped. They can only get nectar out of flowers that have like somewhat of a cup shape and can hold in moisture. Because they bite into it a little bit and then they'll suck out the juices that comes from the center. But if the thing is like super fuzzy on top, like a dandelion, where it's got that like thick layer before you actually get to the meat of the flower, they just don't. They're for pollen more than they are for nectar. They'll go to clovers to get nectar because clovers have the little like scoop shaped flowerette sort of things, and they taste really sweet. If you've never eaten a white clover or a red clover off your lawn, because they grow in everyone's lawn all across America, Europe, stuff like that. Everyone has clover. If you ever see white clover, it is like one of those things that so many people have stopped eating, even though the only reason it's here in the first place is because people put it in here to eat it. Because it's not native. Red clover and white clover are not native to here. Other types are, but not those. I say other types, I just mean things in that family. Then there's stuff that's commonly mistaken for clover, like wood sorrel. Yellow wood sorrel. They're mistaken for clover due to their heart-shaped leaves and the fact they always have 3 leaves connecting to a stem. But unlike clovers, they practice something, well, I wouldn't say they practice it, but the plant does a thing where it reacts to lack of light or increase in light. So when the sun goes down, the plant leaves fold inwards, and it looks really cool because the plant completely changes shape within like 30 minutes. And you can almost watch it happen before your eyes because you'll slowly see the leaves just go limp into the position at night, and then the second the sun peaks over the horizon in the morning, they immediately, in 30 minutes, they perk right back up and are ready to absorb sunlight because they don't waste energy keeping the leaf perked up, which requires excessive moisture. So they'll pump the moisture back into the plant to allow for growth overnight, and then pull moisture out of the ground to fill back up the leaves in the morning, and it allows more of an effective growth cycle Things like beans also do that as well. If you've ever grown bush beans or string beans, their leaves will not necessarily wilt, but they fold downwards at night, and then during the day they all lift up back towards the sun. Melee. I just realized I've never gotten a chest in that room over there once. It doesn't really matter. I'm just, like I said, I'm just playing a game for fun for once. What the hell is this doing up here? Was close to being full. I don't know what I was trying to accomplish with that. I love sending them flying.
I can do the challenge? I mean, yeah, go me! Woo! Almost jacked out! Oh, hey, I'm awesome! How about that? You're almost
Why is it always a grenade mod, dude? Grenada. I'm gonna do an actual, like, run, and then I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm getting too tired. At this point, caffeine is just gonna make me jittery when I'm sleeping. It's not even gonna wake me up. I'd just be sitting there going, is this dude okay? Yeah, he's been drinking stuff with caffeine in it when he's been up for like fucking 29 hours. Dirt chunks. Dang it, I wanted to catch it. If it was real life, it just would have went with my fucking ninja reflexes. I'm such a badass. You know it, dude. See you later, short gun. I need thee not. I needed thee! I didn't even boost. I just realized because I was like, Borderlands 2 can't boost when I was doing a grenade jump in the pre-sequel. I don't know what my brain was braining, but it brained the wrong. It didn't brain good. How you gonna brain me wrong like that? Get your brain on, Poppy. There's your boy. Your boy Trisket. Your boy Laguda Bega. Swag man. What do you mean? The swaggiest man. Oh my Jesus. Oh my god, he dropped a cryo wet week. Where did I put that on? slow as. A cryo wet week ain't bad. Good for cryo.
Let's get sexy.
Well, I'm gonna stop my stream here. Thanks for watching. I'll be back to actually like play more of this and not just like sort of ramble and just do random shit because I'm so tired I can't even actually do anything. I was just keeping myself awake by continually trying to talk, but doesn't matter. I'll be back. Peace out, everyone.